make-believers. In today's video, I am doing my writing journey number 16, I think. And the basis of today's writing journey will be rejection. Rejection, 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 rejection. It is something that we all experience in some aspect of our lives in some way or some form. I'd say rejection is part of the package, especially when you're doing something creative, such as say writing or acting or singing or something, you know, and you're trying to get someone to stand behind you and be like, yes, this is amazing. I'd say that rejection is quite, you know, it's like they come together. First of all, I'll just start with my own personal experience and share that, and then we will get into the nitty-gritties of it. So basically, I'm sure as you all know by now, I have written a book. Well, I've written many books, but I've written a book for traditional publishing. So the other books that I've written are self-published, and if you want to check them out, I will link them below. Let's just put in a plug there. But the book that I am now trying to go the traditional route, because I got a taste for self-publishing and was just like, num 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 num, I want to write books for the rest of my life. So I decided to write another series that I will go the traditional book publishing route, where I can, like, you know, sit back and not have to worry about promotions and all those things. Just like, here's my story, take it away. And so here I am today, sending it out to be judged and rejected. And that story is Ashes of Legends, and it's a new adult fantasy that I'm super, super excited about, and so have sent it out to, so far I believe I'm on 50 agents that I've sent it out to. So yes, also submit to many, many people. Of course, that means that you're likely to get more rejections because you sent it to more people, but just don't limit yourself. Just keep sending. I saw that the average is about 30 to 50, so at the moment I'm on to 50, and I'm not stopping until I get somebody that says, I am representing you. So, first of all, let's start with some exciting news. 2 of those agents have gotten back to me and requested the full manuscript. So that's very exciting, and those are the emails that you want, and those are the emails that you can celebrate and jump up and down even though they haven't offered you representation. You can celebrate, and then you keep submitting until you get somebody that offers you the representation. But one thing that I have learned through doing this is that agents have very varied reply time schedules. So some of them reply as soon as 2 weeks or so, they say, although some of them that say 2 weeks have replied to me in like 3 days or so, which is amazing. And some of them take up to 12 weeks, and if you don't hear from them in 12 weeks, contact them and then, you know, wait another 12 weeks. So one thing with this process is that, like, for instance, now say I've sent it out to 50 agents, I think I've heard back from about 12. And from those 12, 2 of them have requested the manuscript, which is super exciting, and I'm over the moon. But 10 of them, my friends, have been rejections. Are you ready? So for me, when handling these rejections, first of all, what I found helped was looking at some books that I love and seeing their submission, process, agent, publishing journey, and saying, okay, it's natural. So I looked online, of course, at just stories, and some people have submitted and gotten as many as 200 rejections, and yet that book is now published and is now selling well, and this person is now living the dream. So that's very exciting. So I take joy from stories like this, but of course I don't want to get 200 rejections. But with 10 rejections, I take solace in the fact that stuff like Twilight, books like Twilight, received 15 rejections. So we all know how Twilight took over the world, and that got 15 agents said no. So what I'm taking from these stories of other successful books that are doing well now, that got rejected many times, what I'm taking from this is hope. So I find that when you get rejections, it helps to look at others that have been in your position that are now where you want to be, because then they give you hope that even though they, you know, things aren't looking great and you're getting rejected a lot, there is hope that you can be like them. So one that, of course, everybody loves, I believe, more than Twilight. I could be wrong, but at least for me, I love Twilight so much, but I love this one more, and that is the Harry Potter series. Now, this one was started on a train, as we all know, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, so I don't know how many agents she submitted it to that rejected it, but I do know that she got a very small agent that no one really knew to, like, take a chance on it. Like, they were like, okay, fine, we'll try and get you a publisher. And that's the joy. See, this is why you have to get used to rejection, because once you get an agent, that is not it. Once you get an agent, then the agent tries to get your book to the publisher, and the publisher then has the opportunity to reject it. So you really got to be ready to get rejection in your journey as a writer, and you really got to be strong and willing to power through and believe in your story. So anyways, as we know, Harry Potter got its agent and then it got its publisher, but it was actually rejected 12 times by a publisher before it got a publisher. So, you know, if books as incredible as Harry Potter and Twilight can be rejected 12 to 15 times, then, you know, hang in there. Another favorite of mine is another super famous author that I'm sure we all know, and that is Stephen King. And the story that I'm referring to is Carrie. And Carrie I find the most inspirational because, come on, it's Stephen King and it's just a huge book. And Carrie was rejected 30 times. 30 times by agents. So much so that Stephen King threw Carrie in the bin. So he threw Carrie in the bin and he said, I give up on this book. And his wife took the book out of the bin and said, don't you dare. So she said, no, get another rejection, get another 5 rejections, get another 10 rejections, this book is getting made. So I actually don't know how many rejections Carrie received in the end, because it just says in the story that I read, it just says that he got 30 rejections, threw it in the bin, gave up on it, his wife took it out of the bin, says keep submitting, he kept submitting, and finally he got an agent. So after I get my hope from other successful authors that were in my shoes, I then appreciate the fact that the agent has a pretty hectic job. I researched that, of course, as well, and it says that on average, agents get 60 to 100 submissions a week. So they admit they don't go through all of them. You really have to stand out. And some of them ask you to put your book title in the subject name of the email because that might help them determine whether or not they're even going to open it. But they have so many to get through a week that they don't have time to really invest in your story. It has to capture them like whoosh, but it also has to capture them more than the other 99 whatever emails that they have. So they might find one that they think, oh my gosh, that's amazing, that's a 10-star, yes, definitely want to read that one. Then they find another one, then they find another one. They have 100 to choose from. So your query letter really has to be boof. And if your query letter is boof, then your chapter sample pages have to be boof. So there has to be so much boof. So I take that into consideration as well. I say, like, okay, you know what? Maybe they've rejected it, but actually, maybe they rejected it because they had 50 other books. Or if mine doesn't stand out because they haven't even managed to get to it on their list with all the submissions that are coming in. You know, I take that into consideration as well. So it helps. Also, in that way, it helps to not take it personally. To be like, well, you know, they've got a lot of other people to look at, and like, you know, one day I'm gonna be one of those other people that gets chosen, and there's gonna be somebody else that gets rejected along with my submission, and that's just, you know, that's just a part of the journey. The third thing I find that helps is also, of course, the perspective that you have of it. So rejection is not a great thing, but if you look at it with a negative outlook on it, like great, another rejection, and you take it personally, and you think the book is crap, and you want to throw it in the bin, and you know, chances are you're gonna not continue with the journey, and then it is not gonna get out there in the world. But if you look at it with a positive perspective, then probably things are gonna work out positive because you're gonna be less likely to quit and you're gonna be more likely to keep submitting until it gets accepted. So me personally, when I get a rejection, now there are some good rejections in my opinion and what I've read online. So the good rejections are the rejections where the person actually takes the time to tell you why they're rejecting it. The good thing about that is that, first of all, they say that when an agent does that, it means that they actually genuinely do see potential in this book. They don't want you to give up. However, it's just not ready yet in their eye. Now there are some that get more than 100 emails per day, so they cannot reply personally to every email that they get, and sometimes they do just have to send out a standard blanket rejection letter. So don't be discouraged if you do get a standard one that doesn't tell you why, because sometimes they just genuinely don't have the time. But however, if you do get one that tells you why, first of all, think, woohoo, that means that it really genuinely does have potential from an industry professional. Second of all, when you get those rejection letters that tell you why they're rejecting it so that you can fix it, it's not just a boost of confidence, but it also is an incredible tip from an industry professional. So for instance, in my experience with Ashes of Legends, my first rejection was a detailed one, so that was like, woo! So from that, they told me that they found the narrative too telling. Now, I took what I understood from telling and I did a little bit of research. I was like, okay, I didn't realize I did that. So I went back to the book. Now, from chapter 3 onwards, the narrative is very active and I'm speaking as the character, But from chapter 1 and 2, I had been telling. So my best example for telling narrative is, for instance, I wrote, I see a crooked tree on my right, leaves blowing in the wind, and I hear the call of a bird overhead. And that was telling. What is not telling is, there's a crooked tree on my right, its leaves rustling in the wind, and a bird calls overhead. So, not much of a difference, but do you hear it? It's such a subtle difference. All I did was take out I see, I hear. But because I'm not saying I do this, I do that, I do this, I'm just doing it, it becomes so much more active and the audience becomes so much more engaged in the scene. Now what I noticed is that when I began the story, I had to get into the flow. So what I saw is that actually that agent was right. In the first 2 chapters, I am the author telling the story, and so my narrative is telling. I see this, I hear this. Then, as I got to know the character, as I felt out her voice, then it was, there's this, there's that. Birds, sirens, la la la, and it was much more active. It was much more in the scene. But of course, you don't send the agent the whole book at first, you only send them the first few pages. So, the agent saw the potential, but saw that it needed work. Had she had the whole manuscript, yes, then maybe she would have been like, I love it, I'm gonna take it, but let's work on the first 2 chapters. But of course, sometimes they only get the first 3 pages. So I honestly took that rejection letter and was so thankful, because a part of me obviously was upset. And a part of me was like, crap, I've already sent it out to like, at this point, 20 agents. So I've sent out this telling narrative to like 20 agents. But of course I was like, but there's many more agents in the world, and I can now fix it and send them the even better version.
Hi all, this video was getting way too long, so I've decided to split it into 2 parts, and I will post the second part sometime in July. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time, I'll see you. Bye! Hi all, this video was getting way too long, so I've decided to split it into 2 parts, and I will be posting it sometime in July. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see you. Bye!